That night, everything changed. And the comfortable illusion of my marriage shattered. Hello, I'm a working woman in my 40s. Who witnessed the downfall of people who thought they were the best. There was a time when I thought I was too inadequate and weak. Despite living my life quite successfully. The reason I viewed my successful life as a failure was because of the people around me. My husband and my in-laws. Those people who always boasted that they were better than me, are now filled with regret. I'm here to tell the story of the incident that suddenly reversed our roles. My immediate family consists of 3 older brothers, one 10 years older, one 8 years older, and one 6 years older, and I am the youngest daughter, showered with their love. My parents were busy running a fruit business, so I spent most of my time with my brothers. Due to the large age gap, they practically raised me. By the time I entered elementary school, my brothers were already in middle and high school. As my brothers got married in their early 30s, our family grew. My brothers, who were always affectionate, became affectionate family men even after starting their own families. I remember something my eldest sister-in-law, Sarah, once told me. You once asked me why I married your eldest brother, right? Do you remember the day we had a meal together before we got married? That day at the family restaurant? Ah, yes, I remember seeing you for the first time then. But why do you bring that up? She asked. Do you know how much your husband, my brother, cared for you that day? Honestly, many people act kind just to look good while dating. But watching him care for you that day, I realized this man is kind by nature. So, that's what made me decide. I thought, I have to marry him. Really? Wow, my eldest brother was especially caring that day. But he definitely had a good strategy. I had no idea, I just thought that was his normal personality. My family welcomed new members as my 3 brothers married. Yet we never had any trouble. Of course, this was partly because my brothers are good people, but most importantly, my sisters-in-law were wonderful people, too. Seeing everyone manage their families well without major issues, I dreamed of having a happy marriage myself. Then, in my early 30s, I met my match. He worked at a company run by my eldest brother's university friend. He was 2 years older than me, and I was told he was hardworking and sincere. Which led to a blind date. I went without high expectations, but I felt an instant connection. He had a gentle demeanor, a handsome face, and was tall. He was a bit thin but had fair skin, and seemed like someone who would be popular anywhere. His first impression was excellent, and as we talked, we found we liked all the same things: spicy food, sports, and even the same music genres and singers. I thought, this must be fate. After that first date, we saw each other often. And after a year and a half of dating, we got married. My husband, David, always loved my bustling family. He got along particularly well with my brothers. My eldest brother, who was close to his age, helped him a lot when he was moving to a better company. David respected my eldest brother the most among all my brothers. Thanks to you, brother-in-law, I successfully changed jobs. I should treat you all. When you have time, let's all go out for a nice meal. Oh, don't worry about it, David. As long as things are working out for you, that's enough. Just go out for a nice meal with Stella later. I immediately thought of you when this good opportunity came up. The timing was perfect. Thank you, brother-in-law. Actually, the previous company was good, but the commute was a bit far. The new place is close to home, which is much more convenient. David relied on and received help from my brothers as he continued his professional life. My in-laws consisted of my father-in-law, Mr. Thompson, who had retired as CEO of a solid company, my mother-in-law, Mrs. Thompson, who had been a full-time homemaker, my husband, David, and my sister-in-law, Jessica, who was 3 years younger than me. Mr. Thompson was always sophisticated and spoke carefully, but Jessica and Mrs. Thompson tended to speak without thinking. The first holiday after my marriage was quite baffling. I had gone to my in-laws' house the day before the holiday to prepare food, and planned to leave for my parents' house after the memorial rites the next day. But Mrs. Thompson suddenly spoke brusquely. What? Where are you two going? Oh, we're going to my parents' house now. Your parents' house? Listen, you might not know, but you are supposed to stay at your in-laws' house on the holiday. What are you talking about? You should visit your parents on the next non-holiday day off. Since you don't seem to know, stay here until today and you can leave after lunch tomorrow. Mother, even if we leave now, we'll only arrive around dinner time. If we leave after lunch tomorrow, we'll have to rush back without even having dinner. We've been here since yesterday morning and the rites are over. So we should go now. I thought I had spoken respectfully. But seeing my reaction, Jessica, who was lying on the sofa, laughed loudly and said, "Oh my goodness, sister-in-law. Wow, Stella, that's terrible. How can you completely ignore your in-law's disapproval? When my mother says something like that, you should just accept it with a, yes, mother. What did you say? You should go now? Wow, seriously unbelievable. Jishin, did you see that? You must not act like Stella. When you get married later, when you visit your in-laws, you have to follow their customs. Otherwise, you'll be rejected." Hey, Mom, I would never do that. Who talks back to their mother-in-law so rudely? Sister-in-law, you shouldn't do that. It was exactly like the saying, the one who mediates is more annoying than the one who hits. I was furious at the subtle insults from Mrs. Thompson and Jessica on my first holiday. I was about to say something, but Mr. Thompson stepped in before I could. "Jessica, stop talking nonsense. If you're just going to lie on the sofa, get out. Are you just going to lie around like a snail after doing only one household chore? And dear, you constantly badgered me about when we could go to your parents' house throughout our marriage. And now you're talking to my daughter-in-law like that? What? What are you talking about? I badgered you? Is that not true? We never even visited your countryside house once on the holiday because you said it was too far. You always elbowed me, saying you had to go to your parents' house immediately after just showing your face here. You've done that for over 30 years. So why are you treating your daughter-in-law like this? She's been here since yesterday. That's enough, Stella. Hurry and go now. Your parents must be waiting for you. They must be desperate to see their precious daughter. Go quickly." Thanks to Mr. Thompson stepping in, I was able to leave my in-law's house without further trouble and head to my parents'. Since he yelled at Mrs. Thompson and Jessica first, they couldn't say much. Mrs. Thompson and Jessica cared deeply about what others thought. They probably wanted to appear as a kind mother-in-law to outsiders. But their true feelings didn't match. Another time, when I was about to do the dishes after a meal at their house, I noticed someone was already putting on rubber gloves next to me. It was Mr. Thompson. "Go on now, you two have eaten. I have to do the dishes now. I need to do the dishes quickly and watch my drama. So hurry up and leave if you're done eating." "What? Father-in-law, you're going to do the dishes?" "Oh, no. Please sit down and watch your drama comfortably. I can do the dishes." "Oh, I said it's okay. I do the dishes every day now. This is my duty. So, you two go home and rest." When Mr. Thompson offered to do the dishes, Mrs. Thompson watched us with her eyes half closed and grumbled at him. "Seriously, you're so funny. Is the daughter-in-law here, so you're trying to play the affectionate father-in-law? When did you ever do the dishes? What nonsense are you talking about? I've been doing the dishes since I retired. Who else would do them? Well, if you were such a fan of doing the dishes, you should have done them when I was younger. You're only doing it more now that the daughter-in-law is here. Stop talking rubbish and go watch TV. Why did you come into the kitchen? You're usually rushing back to your room after a meal. Go now." The kinder Mr. Thompson was to me, the more Mrs. Thompson became jealous. In fact, Mr. Thompson had worked very hard when he was younger. Since he was the sole breadwinner raising his children, he worked 2 or 3 times harder than others to become a CEO. Consequently, Mr. Thompson felt apologetic for not being able to spend more time with his family. So, he always had something to say to David. "David, you know your father was busy, so I wasn't able to be there for you when you were young, and I truly regret that now. Of course, working hard allowed me to raise you well, but looking back, I wish I had spent more time with you. So, David, I don't want you to have the same regrets as your father. Do you understand what I'm saying?" "Yes, Father, I will keep that in mind." "Good. You need to work harder and do better. Money is important, but keeping your family together is crucial." Mr. Thompson always emphasized the importance of family to David, and following his father's words, David was a truly affectionate and good husband in the beginning. Mrs. Thompson was a bit like a spoiled, immature character. But Jessica was even worse. Jessica had a glamorous appearance. She loved dressing up and spent most of her monthly salary on credit card bills for self-adornment. So, sometimes when I visited, the atmosphere would be frosty because of her credit card debt. Ah, that girl. She doesn't save money, she just spends it all on makeup. It's so frustrating. What, Mom? Did Jessica's credit card bill come out high again? Yes. Oh, David, what should we do with her? I don't know if she'll ever be able to get married like that. Your dad is retired and living on a pension. But what is she thinking, spending money like that? It's so frustrating. Jessica was so focused on decorating herself that she didn't think about the future. She was in her 30s with no savings and a mediocre job. So her parents' worries grew daily. Then, in the second year of our marriage, Jessica announced her wedding. Her fiancé was a doctor at a general hospital. Jessica was marrying someone from a good family with excellent credentials. Mrs. Thompson was overjoyed, bragging to everyone in the neighborhood. She boasted endlessly to me. See? Our Jessica is good-looking, so her in-laws seem to view her favorably. Well, my daughter is quite pretty, isn't she? Yes, I suppose so. But how are the wedding preparations going? I heard they asked for wedding gifts and traditional gifts to match the house they provided. That's what you have to do. We're getting a doctor for a son-in-law, we should be grateful. They didn't ask for 3 keys. I heard getting a doctor son-in-law means giving 3 keys. So we should consider ourselves lucky. Mrs. Thompson beamed and helped with Jessica's wedding preparations. Jessica's in-laws provided the house, so Mr. and Mrs. Thompson had to use so much of their retirement savings for the wedding and traditional gifts that it was almost too much for them. Still, Mrs. Thompson was thrilled just to be getting a doctor son-in-law. Mr. Thompson wasn't entirely pleased, but since his daughter, whom he thought might never marry, was getting married, he didn't object. David didn't like that. She was marrying someone who was supposedly better off than him. So, Jessica got married. The following year, Jessica gave birth to a son, and I also gave birth to a son. 2 years later, I had a daughter, and Jessica had another son a year later. Followed by a daughter 2 years after that. Since we had children around the same time, we often talked about the kids when we gathered at the in-laws. But Jessica was always boastful. Sister, when are you going to send your kids to an English kindergarten? I heard you have to get on the waiting list now. What are you planning to do? English kindergarten? I'm just planning to send them to the workplace daycare. It's near the office, and I think that's better. Oh, my. You're not sending them to an English kindergarten? Goodness. How important is English these days? Well, I guess it might be difficult given your and brother's income. Everyone just does what their circumstances allow, I suppose. That wasn't all. She would constantly compare the clothes our children wore. It was often ridiculous and dumbfounding. Just a few years ago, Jessica was walking around the house in a stretched-out T-shirt and 3001 slippers, but after marrying a doctor, she suddenly acted as if she was a higher class, which was absurd. I decided not to engage with her, thinking it wasn't worth sinking to her level. I didn't see her often since I was also working. And I was busy raising 2 children. Dr. Allen, my brother-in-law, was so busy with his medical practice that he rarely visited the in-laws' house. He was always working or busy on holidays. So we didn't see his face much during the year. Maybe because of the infrequent visits, Mrs. Thompson treated him like royalty whenever he came. Son-in-law, have a taste of this. I stayed up all night simmering this because I heard you like bone broth rice cake soup. I'll pack some for you to take home. I also made this short rib patty myself. Should I pack some for you? Oh, no, mother-in-law. I don't eat much at home. My wife's cooking skills are not very good. Oh? Well, my daughter is not very good with her hands, son-in-law. What would you like to eat then? I can make it as a side dish for you. Here, dear, try this. It's really delicious. Mom, you know how many patients my husband sees these days. He's so tired. He barely has time to eat at home. Oh, is that so? Then I should get a tonic prepared for my son-in-law, so he doesn't get too tired. Doctor. Alan would barely say a word at the in-laws' house, yet Mrs. Thompson devoted herself to him, and Jessica and Mrs. Thompson fawned over his every move. Mr. Thompson, David, and I often found this behavior displeasing. Honestly, I would be annoyed if David acted like that, but Jessica never got angry, annoyed, or gave him a hard time. Instead, she was overly deferential toward him. I thought this was strange. David was good to my family and to me. In the beginning, he also spent a lot of time with the kids. When they were older, we even went to watch basketball games together. I was working hard, building our family with David, who was affectionate and family-oriented. But after 10 years of marriage, David started to change. Parents with young children will probably understand this. Those first few years of elementary school are chaotic. School ends quickly after lunch, so even with after-school programs, there's a limit to what you can do. And if a child gets sick, it's truly stressful. And overwhelming, isn't it? I think that was the hardest time for me. Shortly after our younger daughter started elementary school, she was sick for a few days and couldn't go to school. I had to quickly use a vacation day to take care of her on the first day. And I asked David to use a vacation day for the next day. But he said he didn't have any days left. I can't take a day off. The company situation is not good this year, so we decided not to take time off unless absolutely necessary. What kind of nonsense is that? You're saying you don't have any vacation days left? Well, that's just how it is. And if you keep skipping work because the kid is sick, the company won't look favorably upon you. For women, they might just see it as being a mom, but it's different for men. Why are you bringing gender into this? Even if you can't take the morning off, at least leave work early and come home. You've been working late for the past few days. I have a backlog of work, so I have to resolve the urgent issues in the evening. The company is busy lately. Do you think I want to work late? I don't want to, but I have to. You can work from home after the kids are asleep. I was utterly dumbfounded and angry at his unbelievable excuses. We were both working, but I felt it was unfair that I was the only one constantly worried about the children. David didn't even stay home on weekends. He suddenly started playing golf, and would leave early in the morning on weekends, packing his bags. Once, I woke up early and tried to stop him from leaving. Where are you going right now? Where are you going so early in the morning? Don't tell me you're going golfing again? You are truly awful, David. The kids are waiting for your day off, and what are you doing? Do you think I want to go? It's a gathering with my superiors at the company. I don't want to go either. Are you the only one who works at that company? Why are you the only one going to these gatherings every weekend? It's because I'm good at entertaining them. You work at a company, too, so why don't you understand? I'm busy. Besides, the kids won't play with me. Even if I'm there, you can take them out instead. Why are you making excuses with me? As time passed, the affectionate, family-oriented David began to drift away from the family. I ended up taking on all the housework, childcare, and my own job. After struggling alone for months, I finally collapsed with a severe fever. I asked Mrs. Thompson, who lives only 30 minutes away, to watch the children. But do you know what she said? She flatly refused. Mother, I think I have the flu and a high fever. Tomorrow is a day off, so could you please let the kids sleep at your house tonight? What? Oh, no, I can't. I have to watch Jessica's children. How can a mother who has children not even take proper care of her health? What kind of mother gets sick when she has children? I didn't get sick on purpose. But my husband is too busy, and I'm doing everything alone. Listen, in my day, we raised children just fine without our husbands. Just take some medicine and look after your kids. I can't do it, so you need to understand. She flatly refused my simple request to watch the children for one day. While I was sick. In fact, Mrs. Thompson had never watched my children while they were growing up. She only ever watched Jessica's children. I felt deeply hurt by this. In the end, whenever I or the kids were sick, my sisters-in-law, who lived far away, took turns helping me. I truly believe I couldn't have raised my children without them. Once, I was so upset that I sobbed in front of Sarah, my eldest sister-in-law. Sister, I'm sorry. I keep relying on you and asking for favors. I'm so sorry. Oh, don't be sorry. There's no need. My kids are all grown up now, and I actually enjoy helping. But I worry about you getting so tired. I'll watch the kids for you this weekend so you can get some rest. You'll be in serious trouble if you keep this up. We all raised our children by getting help from those around us. So, you don't need to feel sorry. When I faced difficulties, my family tried to help. But my in-laws ignored me, so the comparison was inevitable. Especially as David began to completely ignore our family and even our children. My heart began to break. I was struggling alone, raising the children. Then came a holiday. As usual, David left early in the morning, saying he had a soccer meet-up with friends, and my brothers took my children, along with their nieces and nephews, for a camping trip. I finally had a peaceful weekend. David had only sent a message, saying he'd be home late, and there was no other contact. So, I decided to just watch TV. There was a basketball game on, and I decided to watch it. I had loved basketball since David and I were dating. And we even went to games when the kids were little. That thought made me decide to watch the game for a change. I had no idea that simple choice would determine my fate. I was watching the game, and as you know, the camera occasionally pans over the crowd. When a certain scene was shown, I was stunned. My husband was clearly visible on the screen. And next to him was not his friends, but a woman affectionately holding his arm, practically leaning on him. The moment I saw that, all of David's suspicious behavior rushed into my mind. Come to think of it, there had been days recently when I smelled perfume that I'd never smelled before. Also, when he was on the phone, he'd always walk away from me. I hadn't suspected anything because he often had work calls. But I immediately knew something was wrong. So, I quietly started investigating right after witnessing that scene. David came home late, presumably very drunk, and immediately passed out. I looked at his phone. At first, I checked a few things, but there was nothing suspicious. Then, I opened his phone's navigation app and saw an address saved as a favorite. My instincts immediately flared up. A few days later, I went to that address and waited nearby. As expected, David had told me he was working late that day. But just after the regular quitting time, a familiar person appeared, about to enter the villa at that address. It was David, and next to him was the woman from the basketball broadcast. They seemed to have just gone grocery shopping, holding bags full of ingredients, arm in arm, heading into the building. I didn't miss that moment. I immediately ran toward them and yelled at David. "What are you doing here?" David? Startled, he looked at me and immediately panicked. He hid the woman behind his back. The fact that he tried to protect her in that moment was so revolting that I couldn't help but laugh bitterly. "Honey, how did you know I was here? You said you were working late all this time. But you were working late here? How could you do this?" "Honey, calm down. I can explain everything. I'll explain everything, so please just calm down." "Calm down. Do I look like I can calm down right now? You keep using the excuse of working late to fool around with another woman? Are you a father to our children? Are you my husband? How dare you cheat outside? How could you do that? Honey, lower your voice. Everyone is staring. He was trying to stop me, clearly embarrassed by his own disgraceful act. But I was furious. The woman was hiding behind David, unable to even look at me. I desperately wanted to drag her out. Are you embarrassed? Are you embarrassed that you abandoned your family to cheat? And you, who are you to mess around with a married man? What are you? What are you? Honey, why are you yelling at her? Talk to me. Talk to me. Are you protecting your mistress now? How noble. Just great. That's enough. I can't live with a man who does such disgusting things outside. Since everything is exposed, I don't want to talk any further. Let's end it right now. End it. I left the two frozen people and returned home. The whole way back, I was so enraged. I didn't even notice the people around me looking at me and whispering. Afterward, David didn't come home. I was mentally preparing myself for the divorce, whether he came back or not. About 3 days later, I came home after work to find David there. David, who usually didn't care if the kids had dinner or not, had come home early. Fed them, and was now watching me nervously. I found his act truly absurd. I couldn't argue in front of the children. So I put them to bed and spoke to David coldly. I'm going to divorce you. So, stop pretending to be a good husband now. You ignored me when I was struggling and lonely, and now that you've been caught, you're trying to act good? You don't need to. Pack your things and leave now. I'll be filing a lawsuit against you and the other woman. Honey, I broke up with her. I really did. It was just one mistake, one time. I promise I won't do it again. Please, forgive me. Her parents found out, shaved her head, and took her home. She's a woman, and she's single. But they shaved her head as a punishment, so please don't file the lawsuit against her. Forgive? Do you think I can forgive you? She can grow her hair back. But what about the scars you and she left on me? Can those be healed? Don't be ridiculous. You don't have a choice in this divorce. Just be quiet until I make my final decision. After that, David and I started a period of separation. It was hard to make a sharp decision immediately because we had young children. Honestly, I wavered at first. David kept begging for forgiveness, making me think I should give him another chance. But that sly man was still exchanging messages with the other woman behind my back. The moment I found out that the two people who claimed they had broken up were still communicating, my mind was made up. Once I made that decision, I didn't need to go to my in-laws' house anymore. And I ignored their calls while I was sorting out my feelings. Since the daughter-in-law they used to see once or twice a week suddenly cut off contact. My in-laws seemed to think something was wrong. But David hadn't properly explained the situation, and calls from the in-laws kept coming. Even after some time had passed. When I still didn't answer, Mrs. Thompson sent a truly outrageous message. Why aren't you answering my calls? Did you two fight? Even if you fought, ignoring my calls is unacceptable. Call me immediately when you see this message. Didn't she think something big was wrong when her daughter-in-law ignored her calls for days? Didn't she think to ask her son or figure out the situation? Instead, Mrs. Thompson seemed to think my lack of response was disrespectful, and she only sent demanding messages telling me to call her. Mrs. Thompson had always looked down on me, and I didn't want to deal with her anymore. However, a little later, I received a message from Mr. Thompson. I couldn't help but pause when I saw his message. Stella, is something wrong? I'm worried because you haven't been answering. We don't know anything, so we're not sure what to say. But how about we talk about it face to face? I'm truly worried. If you're okay with it, come and let's talk for a while. Jessica's family is coming tomorrow, too. Why don't you come and speak your mind? Since he was the only in-law who had been warm and kind to me. I felt I had to go and tell him directly after reading his message. It seemed David hadn't said anything, so I decided to explain everything. So, I went to the in-laws' house the next day. I thought it would be better to reveal everything when Jessica's family was also there, so everyone could hear it. As soon as I arrived, Mrs. Thompson and Jessica were there. And as soon as I walked in, Jessica started picking on me again. Oh, look who decided to grace us with her presence. She wouldn't even show her face or answer calls. But now she shows up when everyone is gathered. What important thing does she have to say? Indeed. Stella, weren't you being too much? You didn't answer our calls when we kept trying to reach you. Why haven't you been answering? Go ahead and explain. I can barely live because I have to constantly worry about my daughter-in-law. Mr. Thompson immediately stepped in, scolding them to stop. Dear, be quiet. Jessica, you stop talking nonsense, too. Be quiet. How upset must Stella have been to cut off all contact? She came all this way to explain the situation. And how can you say things like that? Everyone, calm down. Stella, come and sit down. I'm glad you came. So, what really happened? David hasn't said anything. And he hasn't been coming either. You tell us what's going on. Yes, what is it? David hadn't properly told his family anything, which only confirmed my worst fears. I realized I had no choice but to reveal everything myself. So, I calmly told them the truth. I'm going to get a divorce. My husband cheated on me with another woman. He kept in contact with her even after saying they had broken up. So, I don't think I can live with him anymore. What? He cheated? Is that true? Our David cheated? Yes, father-in-law. I witnessed everything, and I have evidence. He probably didn't tell you because it's his fault. But I'm going to get a divorce. Suddenly, Jessica started laughing out loud. I stared at her, bewildered by her behavior. Then Jessica seemed to barely suppress her laughter and spoke mockingly. What? What is it now? Oh, sister-in-law, men sometimes cheat. Why are you making such a fuss about getting a divorce over it? Anyone would think you're newlyweds. If you've been married for over 10 years. Something like that isn't a big deal, is it? Who lives on love these days? You just live because you live. Are you still saying you love my brother or something? Ugh, gross. What? What did you just say? Well, isn't that true? A couple might wonder a little bit. What's the big deal? Honestly, they say there's no man who hasn't cheated. Yes, that's right. They say all men do that sometimes. Just close your eyes and let it go. Do you think it's easy for a woman to raise children alone? Men can divorce and still find a good partner. But for a woman, divorce is the end. Divorce is a flaw for a woman. Right, Mom? I think so, too. Honestly, Stella's body is plump now, and her face is all aged. Who would want a woman with 2 children? Sister-in-law, what are you going to do if you get divorced? Know your place. You're not really in a position to so confidently talk about divorce, are you? She should have managed herself better instead of letting herself go. After marriage, like me. Jessica sat there, sneering and trying to provoke me. I was even more dumbfounded by Jessica's brazen behavior. She was in no position to talk to me like that. There was another hidden truth. I laughed out loud, just as mockingly, at Jessica's sneering. Jessica and Mrs. Thompson stared at me in confusion. What? Sister-in-law, why are you laughing? Why are you suddenly laughing? Are you crazy? No, not crazy. I just think it's amazing. Are you unaware, or are you pretending not to know? Since you say cheating is acceptable. Are you pretending not to know? Are you giving me advice based on your own experience? By the way, where is Dr. Allen? What are you talking about? He'll be here soon. Why do you ask? Oh, what? You really don't know? Jessica, you really don't know? Don't know what? Sister-in-law. What are you talking about? You didn't know that Dr. Allen is cheating, too? I thought you were giving me advice based on your own experience. Since you talked like that. Dr. Allen was arm in arm with a vibrant young woman, vacationing in Gangwon-do. Did you really not know? What? At my words, Jessica's face went white, and she panicked. The hidden truth was that Dr. Allen was also cheating. When David and I were having problems, I went on a 2-night, 3-day trip to Gangwon-do with my friends to relieve stress. I left the kids with my parents. That's where I ran into Drive Allen. I saw him arm in arm with a young woman, like a couple, traveling together. At first, I thought I was mistaken, but it was definitely him. And he didn't look like he was just a casual acquaintance of the woman. I wasn't on good terms with Jessica then, and I was planning to divorce David. So I didn't acknowledge Drive Allen. But seeing Jessica mock me so openly about divorce and cheating, I couldn't help but reveal the truth. Just then, Drive Allen arrived late at the in-laws' house. And Jessica immediately turned to him and asked angrily, "What is this nonsense?" That day, you went to the conference in Gangwon-do. Were you actually on a trip with a woman? Yes. That is. What? Tell me properly. Were you on a trip with a woman? Is that what happened? I knew it. You always called out another woman's name in your sleep. You cheated on me? You cheated on me? Who is she? Which girl did you cheat with? Tell me now. Tell me now. Honey, tell me now. Do you want to see me go crazy? Tell me now. Jessica started raging, her eyes bulging. Mrs. Thompson tried to stop her, but Jessica looked ready to smash everything. But then, Drive Allen let out a deep sigh and suddenly began to yell loudly. Dr. Allen, who rarely spoke, suddenly started ranting. And everyone there was stunned and could only stare at him. Dr. Allen had a lot of pent-up frustration. I cheated because of this. I can't live with you anymore. How can you make a person feel so suffocated? Do you even know how hard it's been for me until now? Am I your trophy? Why is being a doctor your pride? Why'd I have to be paraded around in front of your friends like a trophy? And are you good at housework? Are you good at raising kids? You constantly skip your chores to hang out with friends and cause trouble. I can't even face my colleagues because you cause a scene at the hospital, calling yourself my wife. Do you know that? What? Are you yelling at me now? Yes. Why? You can yell at me, but I can't yell at you. I can't live with a woman like you anymore. Even before I met someone else, you constantly went through my phone every day. You checked everything, suffocating me. And you, mother-in-law. It's the same for you. You pretended to care for me by bringing side dishes. But you went to the hospital and harassed the nurses, asking if they were meeting me or calling me. I can't do this anymore. I admit I cheated and did wrong, so let's just end it now. With that, Dr. Allen immediately left the in-laws' house. I was surprised by the quiet Drive Allen suddenly shouting like that. Jessica was in shock and couldn't say a word, and Mrs. Thompson was flustered, unsure what to do. Mr. Thompson sighed deeply, looking at Mrs. Thompson and Jessica, and then got angry. What a disgrace. What a complete mess. How can you treat people like that? The mother and the daughter, neither of you is decent. Stella, you should go now. I don't think there's anything more to discuss. I apologize. At Mr. Thompson's words, I quietly left the house. Jessica, who had been mocking me, seemed utterly shocked to learn that her own husband was cheating. She was talking about how it was no big deal a moment ago. But now that it was her own situation, she was speechless, which was absurd. Afterward, I sent David divorce papers and filed a lawsuit against the other woman. The mistress, Lisa, was 7 years younger than David and unemployed. Her family ran a large restaurant in the provinces. Perhaps afraid that the news of their daughter's affair would spread throughout the neighborhood. The parents came and bowed their heads, apologizing to me when I filed the lawsuit. When I filed for divorce from David, all my brothers showed up. They all used to play sports, so they were big and intimidating. David was usually too scared to even talk back to them. And when I brought them with me to the court, he couldn't say a word. Although they couldn't enter the courtroom, after the trial, when I got into my brother's car, David, who was trying to talk to me, couldn't even approach me. His behavior was so pathetic. What happened to Jessica? Jessica eventually divorced Alan. While Alan was clearly at fault for cheating, Jessica apparently suffered from severe possessiveness. She became obsessive and frantic, begging him to forgive her cheating and constantly clinging to him. In the end, Jessica also got divorced. Thus, within 5 months, Mrs. Thompson's son and daughter both got divorced, and the pride they had boasted about so much was shattered when the news spread through the neighborhood. Only then did Mrs. Thompson contact me, trying to change my mind. "Stella, I'm sorry. I did wrong. David also repents his mistake. Isn't it time to forgive him? Mother, you looked down on me so much because of your precious children. And now you want me back? How can I trust someone who betrayed me once? Since they're your children, you can stick by them for the rest of your life." With that, I hung up on Mrs. Thompson. The fact that Mrs. Thompson, who had only bragged about her children, was now making excuses for them, showed that the saying, "people change before and after they use the bathroom," is true. After that, David was practically forced to quit the company he was working for. As I mentioned, David had gotten that job through my eldest brother's connections. So, when I divorced him, the news of his affair inevitably spread. And he must have felt humiliated. He quit the company and became unemployed. It's been about 2 years since the divorce. And I'm living well with my son and daughter. My parents are still doing well with their fruit business, and although they worried about me at first, they are now my biggest supporters. My brothers and sisters-in-law are my firm supporters, always taking good care of my children and supporting me when I'm tired or struggling. I intend to live even more diligently for my family. My ex-husband tried to find other jobs after the divorce, but couldn't get into any good ones. His salary is significantly lower now, and he also has to pay child support. So he doesn't seem to be in a position to date. The relationship with the mistress ended a long time ago with the lawsuit. And he seems to have tried to date since then but hasn't had any luck. Maybe that's why he keeps subtly contacting me, asking to get back together. But I will never take him back. I had a time when I was thin and pretty too. But after having children, I became busy with life, gained some weight, and changed. My ex-husband didn't appreciate that, and was instantly attracted to a younger, prettier woman. How could I ever take him back? I just hope my ex-husband comes to his senses and lives within his means now. I see a lot of people like my ex-husband around me. But everyone must remember that the price of betrayal is high. There's a saying, be good to people while you have them. You have to be good to them while they are there. Regretting it after they leave is useless. I hope you all treat the good people in your lives sincerely, so you don't regret it later. I will end my story here. Thank you for listening. Please leave your thoughts in the comments.